Hello, leaders of the world. Welcome to Spread Love in Organizations, a podcast for purpose-driven healthcare leaders striving to make life better around the world by leading their teams with genuine care, servant leadership, and love. I am Naji, your host today, joined by Geraldine Maouchi, an expert in business transformation with an extensive experience in leading digital transformation as a C-level executive in retail, luxury, and healthcare. Geraldine was one of the first CDO to have joined the Chief Digital Officer Club in 2013. Since 2000, she developed twofold expertise, both online and offline, based on her vision of a hybrid model, blending the traditional and digital. She worked across Europe, US, Middle East, and Brazil for all kinds of organizations, from startups, big groups, NGOs, nonprofit, and in different industries, including health. Geraldine is also guest lecturer for the HEC Master, an MBA and board member of the EM Lyon, specialized master in digital transformation, marketing, and strategy. So much more I can share about Geraldine, but let me stop here and welcome you. Welcome, Geraldine. It's so great to have you with me today.
Hi, Naji. Thanks for welcoming me.
Geraldine, I would love to hear a little bit more about your personal story that shaped your journey and really the great leader you are today.
the introduction was amazing. Let me talk about the personal level. I was born in Lebanon and grew up in France since my 2 years old. This really inspired my journey on a personal and professional level in two specific main ways. First of all, as an expatriate, I feel really like a citizen of the world. You know, the families are spread around the world, US, Mexico, UK, Brazil, everywhere. So I've always been, interested in other culture, and I've got lucky to be connected to many countries in the world. So I feel first like a citizen of the world. The second thing is that being an expatriate of a country in war was really a stressful and a stressful life, because when you have family in a location that is unsecured, and at that time the telecoms were really not developed, and we could stay like sometimes 6 months up to a year without having news from families, cousins, even father when he was living in the Middle East. So it really created a lot of anxiety, and that's why I started being passionate about the technologies of information and communication. It's how it started. I had nothing to do with it. I was in business administration. I was doing really like marketing. And all of a sudden I see these things popping up and I'm like, I want to do that. I want to develop that, because technology that transcends the geographical border, they connect people from all walks of life. And that's how it started for me. And if I want to summarize today who I am, and at least this like have a kind of motto, I use hashtags. It looks a bit more cool. First, the first hashtag I usually use is make it happen, because very early in my life, I have found out that it's in everyone's hands to achieve her ambition. It belongs to you. You decide what you want to do in life and you make it happen. The second hashtag is agility is an attitude, because I've heard so much about methodology, project management methodology. In reality, what I found out is that agility is something that we need to have on a personal level and to constantly adapt to life, whether it is a business life or other type of life. So, and the last one is the funniest, which is Botox your brain, because I found that as well, that in technology, you keep your brain stimulated, and it's the best Botox ever. So as a woman of more than 40 years old, I'm like super happy with Botox your brain. It's easier than Botox the rest.
Let's talk about this, Botox your brain. I love the 3 hashtags you brought and your story. You shared, where you got into telecommunication to connect people, right? And Botox your brain, always, you're an expert in digitalization. And you talked a lot about, this digital space, this human interactions that are needed. So what is today, how would you define your personal purpose? The jobs, why you wake up every morning? What is your personal why?
The reason I wake up every morning, it's because I believe I really believe that we all have a responsibility on Earth, wherever we come from, whoever we are. And I do believe in the ability of an individual to make an impact, a positive impact. Then once we gather all this together and it becomes a teamwork, a team collaboration, it becomes more powerful.
And you brought impact, obviously, across different industries. You led transformation in digital, which is always kind of connected, I imagine, with cultural transformation and the companies that you've worked in. Have you seen a common thread, I would say, in all those transformations that you've led?
Yes, there is one common point. Whether you implement a new information system, a new CRM, customer relationship management platform, if you downsize or develop a company, I have done so many different jobs for so many different types of structures, even for NGOs, where it's all about human motivation and drive. It's all about human. I want to tell you that I have been developing 3 layers of activities. The first one is, as everyone, the career, which one brings the security, the financial security, the financial incomes in order to do the rest as well. So I have been managing and leading lately digital transformation for billion-dollar groups, whether in retail, luxury, or in healthcare lately. But as well, younger, I was really involved in nonprofit organization for education. I was involved in volunteer initiatives. Now I am indeed involved in education as much as I can. I like to share my knowledge and to support the education. And please allow me to mention that. I am an independent artist, and I've been since a young age creating and producing my own songs, but in a professional way. So I have been involved in so many different types of activities. Okay, all I can tell you is it's all about human interaction. And the limit of human interaction is ourselves. So for example, on an artistic level, I just released a new song online under my artistic nickname. And the title is Watch Out for Your Heart. And it's a ballad about self-love. Because I understood quite lately in my life, that once you know yourself enough and you are in harmony with yourself, you can enrich even more the human relations. And this is really, it's very interesting how SpreadLove in organization popped up all of a sudden in my life. Thanks for contacting me. But it's really the opportunity for me to really link these 2 activities. Because on a business level, today I'm a conference leader. I speak about business transformation. And most of the time, I try to raise awareness that it's not about technical transformation. It's not about technologies. It's about how you help people upskill, transform, adapt to the new technologies, but in a proper way, not to the extremes that we are seeing here and there in whatever generation. But really, it's about, and it's something that we heard before in the previous years about change management. But this transformation that the world is going through, the digitalization, is as well about human.
Thank you so much for sharing this, and it's powerful words that you said, right? And you're linking. You're impressive, right? Like you have an artistic background. You're also a professional there, and you're really tying everything into this human, as you said. It's always about human first, and it's not the technology. So working in, as a leader, and you talked about self-care, right? And the latest discovery for you, which is self-love also. And we hear it many times, you cannot take care of your people if you don't take care of yourself, right? Like this is, as a leader, it's an important piece.
And as well, you hear all the time, like people telling you cannot respect, since we were young, we hear people saying, or you cannot respect people if you don't respect yourself. You cannot love people if you don't love yourself. And this was like, we took it as a basic info. Yeah. But I thought that, okay, fine, I'm doing it. No, in reality, it's even deeper than that.
Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit more? How are you doing it in the organization? How did you live it? Until you You said you discovered it recently. Can you share with us a little bit your journey of loving yourself and caring for the people in the organization, and specifically in healthcare? I know the latest experiences you had were in the healthcare world. As a leader, how did you do this with your teams?
I did it being as authentic as I could be, respecting the politics of the organization and my values of respect, of entrepreneurship. And when you feel that people are fighting in the same for the same objective, the result is just amazing. It's really amazing. So when I experienced that, I'm like I like to be always ahead of time. I'm a bit of a geek or an artist in business, if you want. I was like, you know what, I'm done in retail and fashion. I would really want to enrich the consumer experience in healthcare, because I could feel that healthcare would be the next topic. And I wanted to help people prevent health issues and self-medicate. And I'm like, you know what, digital can do that. Digital can really reinvent the value chain and the human interaction and help people really have stronger knowledge of what they need to enrich and strengthen their healthcare. So this is how I joined the healthcare industry. And then poof, all of a sudden the pandemic and the digitalization accelerated everywhere and demonstrated actually all the pain points of organization. So the question is how I have implemented that is, to be frank, the higher I was growing, the higher in organization, the more difficult it was. When I was lucky to work in organization who really had those values, vision, and really strong, very many genuine care, where the organization really care about its employees, it was amazing. And really, the success, the growth, the performance, even in difficult times, was magic.
One of the things you shared, and I want to double click on, is women in leadership. Right, you're bringing this genuine care, you're bringing success, you're bringing transformation, and you mentioned that as a woman it was even harder. It's an accountability of all of us to advocate, obviously, for women as men, and for sure, I'm a big advocate, and I constantly think how we can get better and better. There's a long way still for us to improve this. I'd love to hear your story or advices, for women who are growing in leadership, for them to be able to continue to be themselves and lead with authenticity, as you managed to do, even though it was a tough road. What are your learnings on this side?
My first learning is that values and personality has no gender. That we can find good people, whatever the gender. And it's not because we are women that we are better than a man, but it's because we are a good individual. We are a collaborative individual, that we are a good leader. So it's not about the personality of a person, her heart, her values, the gender has nothing to do with that. But it's as we evolve in an organization, we may be a bit more challenged. I cannot talk too much about this topic. I can talk more about how to spread love, how to be kind, how to fight for your vision, fight for what you think is right, and make things happen, whether in a big organization and a startup, or even in an NGO. Or in your own life as an entrepreneur, believe in yourself. It's exactly the same, Once you believe in what you do, you go for it. Yeah. We always doubt. So many people doubt. I have been doubting all my life. It's maybe the first time of my life that I feel comfortable in daring without doubts. But doubt is so much fun, because it's not it's like you look at it. It's like a Google map. You have so many different ways to go from point A to point Z. Doubt is a funny road. takes you right, left. But then at the end, if you have a vision and you know what you want, go for it.
Yeah, inspiring words for sure. Geraldine, I would love us to play a small game.
Oh, okay.
I'll be saying one word, and I want you to give me the top of mind thought you have.
Okay.
The first word is kind of obvious for you. Transformation.
Human.
Talk a little bit more about it. I know we discussed it. I'd love to hear the crystallization of, all those years of experience you had in transformation that comes to human.
Yes. So transformation is for me, I've seen a lot. I've seen startup growing as a group. I've supported. It's not I've seen, I have experienced. And the reason I've experienced so much, it's because I had put myself at risk so many times. Like people would follow a career, stay 10 years in one organization, would look at me, oh, you're changing? Yes, I'm done with it. I need to learn something else. So and they were like, are you crazy? You're putting your career at risk. I said, no, I am not there yet. I am trying to learn as much as I can in order to be strong enough, knowledgeable enough, experienced enough to be a credible CEO someday. So I have to see a lot of things. I have to travel. And first, this transformation is mine. I had to transform myself and adapt and reinvent myself each time I was changing either career or activity or like location, whatever. In terms of transformation, you transform when you build a startup and you have your own scope of work and it enlarges so much that you're losing territory and power. And then you grow and you have to adapt. And I say this, I mentioned the startup word because I've been in contact with startups in e-health, and I know how hard it is to let go when you have been so much in control and you have enjoyed so much. Comes the time where you need to transform yourself, adapt to a new size of organization, and need to develop a specific expertise. When I was at group level, I've seen like companies with very traditional business models selling in retail or B2B business and becoming B2C. What does it mean to become B2C? It means you need to change your semantic. You need to change the vocabulary you use in the company. Because before launching an e-commerce platform, before launching social media, how do you explain your vitamin to the end consumer? You're no longer depending on a pharmaceutical retail or in a pharmacy or in a doctor to explain it. If you want to go direct to the consumer, you'd better learn how to explain yourself in your own company, the product, how to use it, and the benefit of it in B2C words, which mean in a vocabulary that the end consumer can understand. So you need to transform yourself. But transforming yourself is what? It's just putting yourself in the shoes of the person who will buy the product, which is someone you already are. Because vitamin is actually as well buying it. So when you buy the vitamin, the question you have to the person who's selling it are the same that the one you need to answer to. So for example, as well in retail, when they ask me, okay, how are we going to do the online sales? I say, just like you buy stuff yourself in other stores.
Entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
One word.
Entrepreneurship, challenge. It's not easy to succeed as an entrepreneur. And I've seen a lot of people overthinking, and I've seen a lot of people just going straight forward and not thinking. It's not an easy thing. It's a challenge. It's a choice of life. It's a choice of, it's a choice that has a lot of impact. But that's how innovation starts. It's when someone there doing something on his own. And you see, entrepreneurial spirit, I would like to jump from entrepreneurship to entrepreneurial spirit, is something that is missing in the big organization. Because the spirit of being an entrepreneur, which is daring, which is creativity, which is autonomy, etc., are missing in the organization. This is why when you hear about digitalization and digital transformation, they talk about the intrapreneurship and the entrepreneurial spirit and developing the autonomy and the trust of developing a new project of the collaborators. And this pandemic demonstrated it. Can I jump to this as well?
Yeah, sure.
So what happened is that if you look at the companies who are like, I don't think we can take a conclusion, but I believe that companies who have been sharing, who have already values and vision defined and clear, companies who have implemented already collaborative tools and allow mobility, have more facilities to handle the crisis because they have like a minimum of framework to continue the job and to continue the interaction. What was difficult is like, how do you continue doing the job, motivating the people when they are challenged in their everyday life, as we are being lately with the pandemic?
Yeah, I agree. All this, learning culture, caring culture that would foster the innovative thinking, right? For people to feel they can fail, they can bring ideas, they are allowed to bring ideas, and win definitely is going a long way, especially during the pandemic, which somehow has put, everyone at the same stage by everyone being virtual and having to collaborate at the same level. So it's definitely an interesting topic.
And I would be very, very interested if at some point there will be research in the world to see how the very strong management style, very directive management style had adapted to the situation. Because when you have a very directive and in control manager, or you manage with, it could be that it's a management threat or whatever, I wonder how the manager is doing remotely. Yeah. I wonder how it evolved, and I would love to read research about that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's
how do you
tons
keep
of research.
People doing the job being so distant from them and not having a hand on it?
Yeah. Let me go with two last words. One is music.
Freedom. Music is free. It's very interesting how music was. How it came the will to do my own music and to be my independent self-produced artist. Like back in the year 2000, I was working in this e-commerce company that was selling CDs online. And the more I was growing, the more I could see that the space in an apartment was like very reduced. So I was like, why do music have CD format, cassette format, disc format, etc.? I'm like, music is virtual, music is intangible. And I'm like, what? Music will become back intangible with the MP3, and we will not buy it. We will either rent it or something will happen to it. So I'm like, what? I don't want to have it on a format. I don't want to throw the CD the day the CD will not exist anymore, but I want the music to remain. And it's a flow. And now, thanks to all these streaming platforms, we are able to take the music with us wherever we are. So for me, music is freedom. It's exactly the example of what digital can bring at the best.
And the last word, spread love in organizations.
This should be the motto of every organization from now on. And I do believe that it's potentially a new theory completing the emotional intelligence for the HR people. I believe that any CHRO, head of human resources, must have gone through a lot during this pandemic and this crisis. And one of the solutions for them potentially is really to dig into this and make it a theory, and to push really their organization to have values such as love, respect, kindness in their organization. It's no longer about emotional intelligence. It's about going deeper into that.
after this amazing interview, I feel this energy you have, and you talked about it many times, and you touch so many things. You've been a leader of so many different organizations. Where do you bring this energy from? How can we learn from you for us to be so energetic and being able to change so many organizations and change the world?
I wish I could answer this, because I'm doing my best to meditate, to learn how to meditate, to calm down. It's not like I'm not a hyperactive. I'm a hyper, like I wake up every day happy, because yes, sometimes we are in a bad mood. Sometimes it's hard. 2020 was really, really, really a tough year for me on all levels. I had to reach my limits in terms of emotion, in terms of physical capacity, in terms of intellectual capacity. For me, it's time for introspection. It's time to really talk to people like you, try to see how we can make a change in the world, make it more. It doesn't mean not profitable. And there is something very important that we need to say. It's not about being into an idealistic organization. I want to stress this point. We can be profitable. We can search for the growth. We can search for, it's fine. What is important now, what this pandemic is demonstrating is the how. It's not any longer about numbers and figures. It's about how do we reach the objective? How do we reach it? Then we need a better or an enriched management. We can no longer, like I've seen organization dealing with different situation, different type of management. But today, management needs to change their style. And so what keeps me, to go back to your question, I think it's also, I'm surrounded by very interesting people. I make sure that I am always into learning from others, and I just dare. Sometimes I do so many, it's not a very big success all the time, but I dare. And it's when you dare 10 times and you succeed once, success doesn't mean that you succeed in something big. It means that, okay, you dared 10 times, once something is working well, so you keep trying.
Well, 2020 challenged you, and you said something. You kept on walking, because you will keep on walking. You keep on daring. You keep on trying. Self-care, self-love, all those things. You're just an impressive person, Geraldine, that has been impacting so many organizations and really bringing a lot and impacting the world.
Okay. But Naji, I want to react again. One last thing. It's not about keep walking. It's about introspection, thinking, moving forward. Because I have been moving forward all my life. Now I'm making a pause. I am trying to really look at this spread love vision, at the self-love concept. Because once you reach your limits, you've done the best of yourself. You have given the best of yourself. To reinvent yourself, you need to really go into, to reconsider and think back and do into a small introspection. It's not about just driving, keep driving. No. It's not about this. It's like introspection, move on. Introspection, move on.
Yeah. As a virtuous circle, right? Like you introspect, you reflect.
And stick to your values. Stick to your values. We can really be like a great, successful organization, being respectful and kind to each other.
Yeah. And you mentioned something that is really key, in what we're trying to do. It's, spreading love is the core for you to be able, as an organization, to bring value, right? Value for the organization, profitability, growth, value for all your stakeholders, for your employees, for the investors, and for the society as a whole, right? This is exactly this, and you talked about it, Geraldine. Any final word of wisdom? You've shared so many, but I want to just ask this last question. Any final word of wisdom for the leaders around the world driving transformation?
Yeah, I think the future CEOs will be the ones who will embody and claim their triple responsibility as an employee of a company, as a citizen of a nation, and as an individual into their own personal environment. I think that this pandemic has been shaking us, all of us, and we really need to look at the work life into a more global perspective. And this is how self-love for shared love and enrich human relationship will help.
Thank you so much, Geraldine, for being with me today and for this genuine and energetic discussion that we had. Yeah. Such inspiring stories for all of us.
Thanks to you for launching this initiative, and let's spread the love.
Well, thank you all for tuning in today. Follow our podcast for more inspiring leaders across the world. New episodes are released every other week. Be on the lookout and stay connected. Follow, subscribe, leave a review on Apple, Google, or Spotify. And most importantly, spread love in your organizations and spread the word around you to inspire others and amplify this movement our world so desperately needs.